Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your digital music class today. So today what we're going to be doing for our first lesson this week is we're going to be reviewing over our notes and over our notation. So the first thing I would like you to do is get a piece of paper, get a pencil, and I'd like you to number your paper from 1 to 10. And with that, what I'd like you to do then is try and take the next 5-7 minutes, and I would like you to see if you can figure out which one these are, if you can name them and figure them out. This is kind of to see if you what you remember, what you don't remember. So what I'd like you to do is take the time to do so and figure that out. So right now what I'd like you to do is stop the video and then write down the symbols, write down the numbers. Take the time, see if you can do it without looking at anything, without doing anything, and then what I want you to do then is try to name them. Don't worry about the beats, just try to name them. For example, number 1 is a quarter note. So see if you can name all 10 of them, and then for number 10, I want you to draw this item here. So if you can draw that item, see if you can figure out what that is, and do all of that and go from there. And that's what I'd like you to do. All right, so go ahead and stop the video and then go from there, okay? Now, once you have gone through all of them, what I'd like you to do now is we're just gonna go over them real quickly. Number 1 is called a quarter note. The quarter note is worth 1 beat. Okay? So when we do the quarter note is worth 1 beat. So it's gonna go ta. Very simple. So if I had 4 quarter notes, I would go ta, 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 ta. Number 2 is a quarter rest. The quarter rest gets 1 beat, and we would go shh. So we would go shh. The quarter rest does not get any sound. It doesn't make any sound. So it goes shh. So your goal is to do that. Okay? Next is the half note. The half note is worth 2 beats. And for the half note, we would go ta, or if I was singing, ta, or I would go la, or if you were playing an instrument, 1, 2, whatever works for you. Next is the half rest. The half rest is worth 2 beats. Okay, and it's worth 2 beats of rest, of course. So with the half rest, you would go shh, shh, 1, 2. Or if you were thinking and counting, you would go 1, 2, and whisper yourself saying that is a quiet note. The next one is a whole note. The whole note gets 4 beats. So when you're clapping, you can go ta, or 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're singing, la, 2, 3, 4. Okay? All right, the next one is a whole note. The whole note gets 4 beats of rest. And so what it does is you would go shh, or just 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever works for you when you do that. The next one is a tricky one. It's one we don't usually do too much yet, especially in elementary, but we call this an 8th note, or an 8th rest, sorry, an 8th rest. The 8th rest gets half a beat. Then this one here down below then is an 8th note, which also gets half a beat. So for both of them, the 8th note, you would go T, T, or T. The 8th rest, same thing, T, T, or whatever works best for you. Down below here, number 9 is a time signature. The time signature we'll get into a little bit later, but the time signature basically will tell me how many beats are going to be in the measure. The bottom, so the top note tells me how many beats per measure, how many beats are in a measure. The bottom here tells me what note is going to get the beat. So for example, if it's 4 here, it would be the quarter note because it takes 4 quarter notes to go into a whole note. If there was an 8 here, it would then be the 8th note because it takes 8 eighth notes to get into the to a whole note. So kind of depends, but usually we see a lot more of the 4 and the 8. The bottom part is a staff. Now the staff is up here if you can see it. The staff has 5 lines. And then the space, and then 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you have 4 spaces. 5 lines, 4 spaces, and that's the staff. Think of the staff as a big old, I've done a couple of different things. You could think of it as a big old sub sandwich that just goes on forever but never been cut, but doesn't have anything on it yet. Same thing with piece of Christmas wrapping paper. You can go roll it as far as you want, or even a big old flatbread pizza going as far as you want, and it doesn't have anything on it. Okay? So what I'd like you to do again is kind of check them, see where you're at, write them down, make sure you've checked all of these, and then what I would like you to do is in the next slide, you can check on these notes, and there's little buttons you can click on, and they will take you to a couple of videos to help you watch, to help you remember these notations and notes. So that's what I would like you to do, and then later what we're going to be doing is then going to be talking about how we're going to create a rhythm using these notes, using the staff and the time signature. But for now, what I'd like you to do is work on knowing your notes here and here, write them down, and then go into the next slide and watch a couple videos about these notes. Okay? All right. Have a good day. I will see you guys a little bit later. I will have another lesson up, hopefully later this week, to talk about creating rhythms. All right, bye.